have initiatives like this, gathering like this, so that the masses could be sensitized about the bill itself. I listened to the previous speaker when I came in. I think he has done a lot of justice to this bill, and to some of the concerns that have been raised by Nigerians. So briefly, I would like to just make some few remarks about this tax reform bill. Uh, First of all, like like every other law or bill, or that seek to be introduced in a country, there has to be concerns that will be raised by a lot of people. There is no law that is absolute when in terms of positivity or negativity. Of course, there are some issues, but we cannot rule the fact that there are a lot of positives in this bill, as well as some negatives. So, as a legal practitioner, the part of this bill that I find a bit, interesting and concerning to me is the part that has to do with derivative principle. What is derivative principle? I listened to my other trying to, expatiate on what derivative principle is. But as a lawyer, if I'm talking about derivative principle, I will talk about it in the constitutional perspective. It's a constitutional provision under Section 162, sub 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, that provides that there should be a proportion, a percentage, in the allocation of from the federal government to the state, when to the state that is, where some natural resources are being, produced. For example, if oil is produced in a state, when there is a revenue allocation, there has to be a special consideration for them. For example, the minimum requirements that has been provided for under the constitution is not less than 13%, which means that any state that is providing, or producing a raw material, when it comes to allocation, they have to be given at least nothing less than 13%, in the allocation. Uh, this principle aim to, kind of give states that are contributing to revenue generation, special consideration, and a special appreciation, if I can put it in that way. So this tax reform bill, in a way, seek to centralize, revenue or tax collection in a way, because sorry, it aims to centralize it, centralizing it in the sense that there are some taxes now that used to be before the collection and what have you. It's done concurrently, together with both the state and the federal government. But now, it aims to centralize it in a way, and that also aim to, in a way, undermines the derivative principle that states that at least each state that is producing a raw material should be allocated, 13%, when it comes to the revenue allocation from the federal government. So I look at the legality of it, because, of course, we know that under the Nigerian constitution, any law that is inconsistent with the provision of the constitution, is that law is null and void. So, in a way, while we raise concerns, and we make discussions about this tax reform bill, I want to appeal that that derivative principle should be considered. Whenever there is any thing that, like I said, any law that is inconsistent with the constitution, that law is null and void. So, in couching this issue of derivative principle, there has to be special recognition to the fact that that constitutional provision that mandates, that at least nothing less than 13% should be allocated to states, should also be considered, because if the law is passed without that consideration, there will be issues to its legality, and in a way, if constitution is not amended, that cannot stand. And then the issue of also state autonomy, when it has to do with tax collection too, it has to be considered in a way. So I think a lot of things have been said about this bill, which I can just add a few. I would say justice has been done to it. And I want to appreciate the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for, his directive that, there should be some special, considerations, and some stakeholders should be carried along in this bill. I want to also appeal to the Senate to be realist, because there's this realist school of thought that states that, so there are some extra legal factors that can affect even the decision of a court or the law itself. In as much as, there are concerns raised by the Senate that, the lawmaking process, does not involve, going to meet a forum of governors or traditional rulers. That's done in the public hearing. In a way, I believe there are some extra legal factors, that should, be considered in the passage of this bill. I want to thank you all for this opportunity, and I want to also